Now there is stuff on the internet which suggests that you can make a heater for a small room just using some terracotta flower pots and some bolts and washers and nuts and a few candles. Now, this is like the Get Me Off Grid video blog, okay? I'm Nick from the Get Me Off Grid video blog. I want to test this out. Now, essentially, my instinct is to think that we're talking about candles here, okay? I mean, like, there's families out there who are struggling financially, and some person on the internet is trying to tell me that you can provide meaningful, useful heats with a couple of flower pots and some candles. So as far as am I skeptical, basically yes. But I have like gone online and done more searches, and there's more people even from like really good publications out there who say they've tried this and they say that they can heat a small room basically with some flower pots and 4 tea light candles. Obviously, if you can provide meaningful heat with just some tea light candles and a couple of flower pots, obviously it's quite an important discovery, something which everyone should actually know about, really, if you think about it, considering the cost of energy. And the fact is, from some shops you can buy 100 tea lights for £1, and let's say you use, to make the maths easier, 5 of them in one go, alright? And let's say they can burn for 4 hours, so you can do your nighttime heating for 20 nights for £1. I mean, sorry, I just find this a bit hard to swallow, but the only way for me to test it is to test it. So I'm going to put this all together and we'll see if we can make one, alright? Okay, well that's the first stage. The bolt runs right the way through there, big washer there, big washer on the other side, then a nut, then a washer, then a pot, then a washer, then a nut, and then I didn't really have any much in the way of I needed basically another 2 washers, which I didn't manage to get my hands on, but I can always like worry about that if I choose to make another one, or if I want to take this one apart and redo it. And I might just want to put another couple of nuts on that thing, and then I'll set some candles up underneath there, and we'll see if we can get some heat after an hour. I'm still a little skeptical. I mean, some people say that if you're within 1 or 2 feet of this thing when it's going with a couple of candles underneath it, you can really feel it. I mean, and the temperatures some people are talking about with their infrared thermometers are the sort of thing you'll get from some kind of commercially available heater for radiance energy. So I mean, I don't know. But if it does work, if we can get some kind of meaningful heat, I seriously don't think we're going to heat the whole place. But you know, we just have to see what happens. I mean, it could well be that the future of human domestic heating in the dead of the winter, when it's -5 degrees outside, is a handful of flower pots and a couple of tea light candles. It could be the case, or not, as the case may be. Let's have a quick look and check and see what happens. Here we go, the alternative energy revolution is sitting there in the form of a flower pot on my kitchen floor. Well, 3 of them actually. A couple of candles there, bioethanol burning tins just to act as supports for the pots, and in the baking trays I use for other burning experiments outside. We'll come back to it in a while and see what's happened, see whether we have solved the world's problems with a couple of flower pots. What was my life coming to? Okay, it's about an hour later. It's noticeably touch warmer on this outer pot. The bolt in the middle, that's warm. I mean, that's actually quite warm, but it's not actually like scorching. And so it's like not all that special after about an hour. Underneath, candle flames are a bit small. I was thinking like maybe I should be raising them up somehow into the inside to try and get more heat directly onto the pots. Putting my finger up its skirt, so to speak, to see if I can feel the temperature of the inner pot. Yeah, the second pot is a lot warmer. I think with a device this type, it requires, if it works at all, okay, let the candles be a lot closer to the iron rod, and the rod should have more bolts on it. So I'm now trying a new configuration with the candles in the middle raised up on a tin of the same height as the tins which are around the bottom. The fact that there's distance between there and there, you know, means that I don't think I'll be smothering the flames. We might be able to trap more of the heat, etc., and so on and so forth. Now let's see what happens. Now, of course, I can't actually see if the candles are lit. All I can do is see some of the candlelight escaping from underneath this flower pot here. I don't know if I can put the camera down here to try and get up there. Yep, we can see that there is some illumination happening, so I'll just wait patiently for another hour and see what happens. 20 minutes after setting it up again, 20 minutes, we should still hopefully have the candles lit. Yes, I can tell you that the outer pot is toasty to the touch. Okay, I mean that's warm. If you just wanted a hand warmer, you know, by 20 minutes time, that's what you got. It's actually, you know, working to that level after 20 minutes. We'll have to see what life's like after about 1 hour. And see whether we're actually getting some meaningful radiance heat out. Or maybe I'll have to do a bit of a, you know, change of the configuration of a number of pots and thickness and so on and so forth. But with this so far, after 20 minutes, we actually have a hand warmer that works. So it has taken the heat from the candles and taken it to the outer pot. Okay? And it might sort of work in a kind of like vaguely storage heatery kind of way. So there is a use for this straight away. Oh, that's nice, that is. That is quite nice. Oh yes, I could sit here for a little while, I could. Well, let's see what it life's like after an hour, and then after 2 hours, if the candles, of course, you know, last that long. But so far, with this particular configuration, I've actually got some hope that we might be able to use it. I don't know about heating a whole room, you know what I mean, but we got some usable heat on the outer pot. Now this is just my own configuration that I just cobbled together. Now there is another version which has been put on other YouTube videos which spaces out the pots with 2 nuts on the bolt. Okay, so you got more, you know, space and only 1 candle. There was one guy who had a system which had 1 flower pot directly above the candles with its hole, its water drain hole blocked up, and another one placed over the top with its whole vent hole open. So I'm now questioning as to whether I actually needed to have 3 flower pots in the first place, or indeed whether I needed to have the bolt system when I could have just suspended the whole thing above a bread baking tin, which might have been a bit of an easier method. But at the moment we're about half an hour in, and it is definitely producing heat, but it's not producing like the weather outside is frightful and the fire is so delightful, if you kind of like get what I mean. So it's so far with this configuration, it's a good hand warmer. It's not like a massive radiant heater at the moment after half an hour. But placing your cold hands on that terracotta pot, you are definitely feeling real warmth, which you can wrap your fingers around it. And in that respect, yes, it's providing something. But obviously what I want is to heat a flat, heat a bedroom, and heat a bathroom. So what I might have to do is play around with the spaces between the pots, and indeed to see whether whether a system of allowing the air to flow up through the vent hole at the top would actually be better and have like convection, or whether I want to just carry on thinking about radiation, keeping the top one blocked up. But actually no, I want radiation. I want this to work. So maybe it's the 2-pot system would do it, rather than the 3-pot system. This will require a bit more playing around with, but for the moment we'll leave that configuration going. Now I've got more hope now that I'm on the right track. I've got more hope that this is not just another one of those things on the internet that's just a waste of time that promises everything and gives you a handful of dirt. But on the other hand, as of yet, I'm not yet seeing the tremendous, intense solar radiation, man, I would have liked to have got from something of this type. So we'll just have to see. Remember, it's 3 tea lights which are under there. There's still some light coming out. You can see it reflected on the lid of that tin there, just about. I don't know whether you can, but I can. So we still got, heat which we can use. And I was thinking that if it does reach the 200 Fahrenheit degree temperature of any configuration that some people talk about, maybe that could actually be a solution for some form of cooking on top. using a combination of, you know, the radiant power plus the convection power, maybe that would actually be doable. I don't know yet. This is early days of my experimentation with this type of device, but as you can tell by the tone of my voice, I'm actually feeling quite excited about what I'm playing with, so we are moving in the right direction somehow. Memo to self: when it's been going for a while, don't touch the bolt on top. Just don't. Memo to self: don't touch the bolt on top. It's kind of like, ouch. That bit, the metal there, that's getting hot. That is hot. Okay, all right. That's hot. Okay, a bit more time has passed. I've lifted the contraption up off the tins and had a look. The candles are still burning. The outer tin is still sort of like hand warm. Sorry, the outer flower pot is still hand warm temperature. One thing I did notice was that there was a fair quantity of condensation which had settled underneath the outer tin. So that's you know, the water being produced by combustion coming down somehow down to there. When I turn the whole thing upside down, oh, sugar, that's hot. That's hot. Remember, that's hot. Memo to self: that bit is hot. Okay. When I turn the whole thing upside down to have a look at it, a massive updraft came from the inner flower pots. So the inner flower pots are hot. I think I've just got too many flower pots, and that's one of the problems, because like 3 is just like a bit too much. But on the other hand, if you want to just you want something to warm your hands by, use this 3-pot system with this large flower pot thing, and you'll be okay. See what happens with the passage of time. Okay, I'm going to have to experiment into this more, but I want to do a quick epilogue as we're now at the 1 hour point since I first set this going after the first complete muff up. What I've discovered is, number one, you need to have more more nuts on the bolts, firstly. Number two, you need to have the candles closer to the inner flower pot. Okay. Number three, I don't think you need 3 flower pots. And if you do, there must be some other thing I need to do with the configuration to enable that to actually work and work properly, including with more spacer nuts on the bolts. With this configuration here, it's a hand warmer. It's not a radiant heater after 1 hour. But the inner flower pots are hot, which basically means to say that a 2 flower pot system would probably work better. I can say that, just to simplify it, the principle seems sound, but a bit of experimentation will be needed to try and get the most optimal effect, and to try and bring about the potential to have a proper radiant heater which provides you with enough energy to, you know, sit beside it, you know, like at your desk or whatever, so that you can actually keep yourself nice and warm. That's more or less what I'm going to say at this stage, but I do want to do more experimentation into this prior to me turning around and saying that, yeah, we've solved the world's energy problems with a couple of flower pots. But, you know, I've demonstrated that there is some truth to the principle. It's now a question of just refining it, studying more videos, thinking more about what other people have done, and trying to create something that's a little bit more tailored to the results which I personally want, namely something I can sit around and you know, get some real heat from.